Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to In the Zone. Rich Sutter, Pete Coles, your dynamic duo of the Hoopland. All right, folks, we got a lot of action going on with you in the hoop world right now. Second round of the NBA playoffs, and I got to be honest, it's been pretty good. Pete hit me with a Pete's Corner question about a week ago, and he said, what's going on? Why would anybody watch the playoffs in the NBA? And right now I'm willing to make a statement that says if the NBA played like they are playing now all year long, they wouldn't have all the problems that they're having with all of their fan support dwindling in the regular season. Right now, the level of basketball is very competitive. It's very physical, and there's been some really good series. The only thing that's kind of been a little bit of an eyesore or a blemish on the playoffs so far is that some of these teams at some point just don't show up for the game. And we saw that last night. But we're going to run right into Pete's Corner here, which is a segment of the show where Pete unfurls 3 questions, tosses them my way, and we try and do the best we can with it. Pete, shoot.
What the heck happened to the top 2 teams in the East?
Okay, right off the gate. There we go. What?
Right between the eyeballs.
No, and what a place to start. I don't know, and I've been watching. Now the Celtics. Let's take them apart a little bit. The Celtics series, my God, blowing 2 leads like that late in the game, and there's a couple of things the Celtics fans have to address here and ask themselves. Number one, has their team gotten a little soft as a result of their success from the previous year? It's really, really difficult to keep that eye of the tiger year to year and see it. That's what made Michael Jordan as great as he was, I think, is that he possessed that significant eye of the tiger. But now the other thing you have to ask yourselves is your team being outcoached right now? And that's something that's going to be, I think, is a lot of talking heads rolling around about it right now. But you've got Tom Thibodeau, a very, very experienced NBA coach, up against a championship one Missoula. But there's just times out there. I'm sorry to say it, Boston fans, but they do look a little lost out there, the Celtics, and their love. This live by the jump shot, die by the jump shot routine that they go in there now, where they're just hoisting up threes. We're going to talk about the number of threes that they've subscribed to. It's just deleterious. And you got Brunson. I call him bad shot Brunson, but he's also big shot Brunson too, because he's tough. He's just a warrior, and he keeps on coming. He's not going to stop. And the Celtics better figure that out quick. This Knicks team, I don't think matches up as well as the Celtics do, position for position, talent for talent. But this Knicks team has a little bit of a junkyard dog in it and is looking to get going. Going home to Madison Square Garden now, 2-0. I don't care what anybody on the Celtics organization says. I don't care what Missoula says. I don't care what Brad Stevens says. That organization has to be shook up right now. Going 2-0, they got to be shook up. Okay, let's transpose and jump into the other series. The Pacers. We talked about this a lot on our show, and I think it's now really, really starting to show and matter. The Pacers, for the better part of the last 2 years, have averaged about what they call 30 open looks. You're getting your players, the real good pros, wide open shots, really, really good open looks. The rest of the NBA, while they were getting 30, the rest of the NBA was operating at about 22 open looks per game. That 8 open looks right now, it looks to me like it's expanded a little bit. Rick Carlisle has this thing on speed dial right now, and the Cleveland Cavaliers are in absolute disarray. It was like a heavyweight fight in the first game that came out, bang, bang, bang. And what happened there was those punches that the Pacers threw, they landed because they came out and shot the ball extremely well in game one, early on in the game, which pressed the Cavaliers into stuff that they're not normally doing. And I got to be honest with you, the Cavaliers seem to have lost their edge a little bit here, getting hit in the face like that. I think Mike Tyson might have said it best, Pete. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. Right now, both of those franchises have been punched in the face. Everybody from Dave Portnoy to all of these Celtics fans up here are really trying to hang tough and putting a good face on this and trying to remain optimistic.
This is panic time.
I get it. This is
It's panic time.
It's you're down 2-0 right now, and you just gave up home court advantage. I wouldn't necessarily think. It's like they asked the guy in front of a firing squad that was ready to go to the squad tomorrow, and they asked him the night before, they said, "Are you nervous, sir?" And he said, "Will that help?" And of course it doesn't. And so I think that, the Knicks are in a good spot right here, but also if this Celtics team now has a reason to fight and has a reason to put their back to the wall, that might help. That might help them as well. The Pacers going home with a 2-0 lead, I think that's a little bit more troublesome for the people in Cleveland, to be very frank and honest with you, because the Pacers are coming downhill. The Pacers are operating at an offensive clip right now that very, very few teams in the NBA are. And the reason for that is open looks. Pete, great question. Hit me with number 2.
OKC Thunder, 87 points in the first half. How does that happen?
Well, that's what I alluded to in my little monologue in the beginning there, where teams
What the hell?
I'm going to tell you exactly what happened, Pete, and I got one ready for you, okay?
All right.
The Denver Nuggets took game 1. They went into OKC, and they delivered the punch to the nose. Jokic was terrific. The rest of the team was fabulous. They looked a little bit like the Denver Nuggets of the championship. Firing Michael Malone, Calvin Booth, the general manager and head coach, with 4 games left in the season, it seems to have helped a little bit, because it alleviated some of the Dern and Strong that was going on in the locker room. Okay, now you got Adelman first time on the sidelines, and he's up against it. But now you got OKC gets whacked out. You know what the Denver Nuggets said after they won game 1, Pete? You know what they said? They said, "Okay, see you later." Didn't even show up for game 2. Got whacked the entire night. The only guy that I thought, and this has been a little bit of a really bright spot for the Denver Nuggets, has been off the bench Russell Westbrook. Man, they're down by like 40 last night, and he's out on the floor, diving on the floor, mixing it up, giving it everything he had. He didn't look at the scoreboard one time, and I think he's been a really bit of a difference maker in this series right now, because the Nuggets needed something. Jamal Murray is MIA. Joker is terrific. He's averaging triple-double, but that's not enough. And right now, OKC got their feet back underneath them, but they go to Denver 1-1. They go to Denver 1-1. Another great question, OP, but OKC, they're young. You saw what happened with the Rockets when they went up against the Warriors. I was so excited about the Rockets in that series, and then I started watching it, and I said, this is old school versus new school, and old school's got the schoolyard still. They had really, really good efforts, but we'll talk about it a little bit later in the show too, but the Warriors got really, really devastating news. We'll see what happens now in that series with the Timberwolves. But Steph Curry pulled up with a bad hamstring, tried to walk it off, tried to go, but I can tell you from an old softball player in the Bronx who blew the hammy out several times, that's not that easy to come back from. Not that easy. Now, what you have to do is quickly evaluate how bad did the hamstring go. It can go from curling all the way up in the back of your leg, and it can go to be a medium to light sprain, but it's never, ever any good. For a guy who wants to take off and start sprinting forward direction, it's never, never a good injury. Hamstring, because they have a chance to recur very easily. If you rush back too soon, you're going to hurt it again. And so it's a really difficult injury, and that's terrible, terrible news for the Warriors. But now we'll see if they can reconfigure around Jimmy Butler. We'll see what happens there. But again, Pete, you're cooking today, baby. 1 and 2. Great
All
questions.
Right. Final question. Move to the NCAA.
Nice.
Been reading articles about this team's winning the portal, this team's winning the portal. Does anybody actually win in a portal environment?
The portal itself is a loss for the game. Having students pick up schools one after the next, spending 4 years, 5 years sometimes on 5 different campuses, I don't think that was anybody's intention. Okay, I don't know if it's good news, bad news, indifferent news, but the Trump administration has now waded into this thing. They're talking about threatening to put together a commission, and when you hear commission, that's when you can know this thing is going to go right down the drain and nothing's going to happen. But I think there is some room here for people to get involved and carve out some really, really good solutions here, some significant solutions. I don't know if you talk to anybody, except the people that are getting paid millions of dollars right now, If you talk to anybody who thinks this is workable, sustainable, and good for the game, what they've done to the game, quote unquote game, guys I grew up with know what that means. Game. When you say game,
Yeah.
the game, they know exactly what that means.
Yep.
What they've done to the game has been disastrous. What they've done to the game has changed it in a way that it doesn't look like it ever get its way back. It's amateurism. It's built on that. Once you've destabilized the entire thing along that line, you've delegitimized the organization, and you are no longer what you once were. That's the real sadness in all of this. They're just not what they once were.
You've
Maybe
replaced
the
it with
change
semi-pro.
It's 100% semi-pro. You're going to see trades happening.
Yeah.
You're going to see somebody have a really good October to January. And they're going to be calling them in the middle of January saying, we got our league season coming up. Come on in with us. We got a couple of dollars on the NIL side socked away for this eventual moment that an impact player is going to come loose in the portal in the middle of the year. What's going to stop them from transferring? It's absolutely been devastating for the game. Absolutely. I can tell you personally that I don't like it because there was a craftable and workable solution that could have easily been come to, but also the court, and I say this a lot, the court doesn't belong on this court. They should have never been on this court. For a court to say you have to start doing this and you have to start doing that, that's exactly when they've overstepped their boundaries. Courts are able to tell you you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that, but compelling entities such as the NCAA and other entities of that ilk to now have the heavy thumb of the government on top of it, I don't think that's good either. And so right now, there's encroachment going all over the place here. And where it all lands, where it all sets up, I don't know. But I'll tell you the guys that are enjoying it the most, the agents. The agents are enjoying it the most.
Follow the money.
It is. It is. And what it is also is, it's another way, because it's another way to prostitute young people, honestly, because now everybody's going to get a piece of it because they're not going to be able to operate without an agent, without a social media coordinator, without a basketball training coach, without a strength and conditioning coach. You're a pro. So take on all of the apparatus as a pro. Are you going to have your own chef travel with you? Nutritionist? That's what pros do. That's what the pros do.
Yep.
Good ones, though, Pete. Good ones. Let's get you up to date. Okay, Pete talked about it in question one. The mayhem. The mayhem has hit. Now, if these guys, the Cavaliers and Celtics, get it back and go 2-2, nobody's going to be throwing up their arms anymore. But as Pete alluded to, you got to be in a little bit of panic right now. You got to be in a little bit of panic right now. Question for you, Pete. I'll throw it back at you. Does Missoula survive this if they go out like they're going out? Let's say they get out in 4, go out in 5. Does Missoula survive this?
I don't see how he could. And that's just me shooting from, doing a shoot. I don't see how he could because this isn't like, I would consider this an epic collapse.
And you won the championship the year before?
That's what I'm saying. This
matters not. It matters nothing in the NBA. It matters nothing. And I can tell you right now that they've got a bit of a civil war going on inside in the management area in the Celtics because of the luxury tax, because of the way they've been spending like crazy. And if you get a couple of championships out of that, it pays because you go all the way to the end. You get the franchisement, you get the TV revenue, you get all that good stuff. But the Celtics are built to lose money unless they go all the way. That's the way it's built right now. The Celtics are built to lose money unless they go all the way. So if they don't go all the way and they go out in this Knicks series and get embarrassed, somebody's going to pay for it, I can tell you that. Timberwolves and Warriors, the Wolves, they're tonight. Game is on tonight. Warriors came out very, very good in game 1. Looked really efficient, very professional. I've given a lot of heat to Steve Kerr because I really don't like him, as a coach. Because I think him and Popovich just run off of the coaching venue way too. They're way off the reservation way too much and way too early and often, and they're very critical of things that I think hurts the industry in general, personally. I don't think that you should have NBA coaches espousing their political views, criticizing presidential candidates, putting their thumb on the scale one way or the other, and nobody has done that more than Kurt or Popovich. So, but I got to give Kurt credit because when their team hits the floor, they do play good basketball, and they got a good team, and they're well coached. I got to say that. Right now they're up 1-0. We'll see what happens tonight. Celtics and the Knicks 2-0. Smoke on the water right there, Pete. They just came in two significant leads blown in short time. You know, they had a 20-point lead with about 8 minutes to go the other night. That lead was blown in short time, and the Knicks just kept coming, and the Celtics seemed to be very casual about it. Didn't seem to have a sense of urgency at all.
I wonder what the betting lines were on those two games.
Last night it was 10.5.
Wow.
Last night, the Celtics were favored by 10.5. The first game, it was a similar number, very high, but in like the 8-9 range. And I'll tell you this, the Celtics were 800, minus 800 for the series. You could have bet the Knicks right now and put $100 on the Knicks, and you'd get 600 in return. So that was they were prohibitive favorites, but the Knicks at minus 600 wasn't really a bad dog. All right, Thunder and the Nuggets tied 1-1. They'll go back. That was a big surprise because the Thunder have been playing so really well and just took Memphis off the floor in that first-round series. You would be like, okay, they're cooking. Denver doesn't really have it, but that's going to be a dogfight. That's going to be a dogfight. And it's going to set up, you know, the Timberwolves and Warriors without now Curry. That could be a very interesting series. But if you're looking at now the Knicks and the Pacers going at it, basketball fans are going to like that because it's going to be a good series, well coached, very, very good talent, matched, very evenly matched talent. And I'm not so sure those guys like each other either. But it was 91-90 for the Knicks, 108-105 in overtime. You know, so you see that the game numbers, the totals are coming down unless it's one of those we didn't show up blowouts like happened in OKC last night.
Right.
But by and large, the games have been tight. They're more physical. And if they played like this all year long, the NBA, ratings would rise. They've had blown leads. Tibbs versus Missoula, that's huge. Game 1, Celtics. I gotta hit you on this one, fellas. 15 out of 60 from three-point range. Okay? They were shooting them from Commonwealth Avenue. 15 of 60. Bridges played 51 minutes for the Knicks. Came up with 2 unbelievable defensive plays in this game. Unbelievable. Game 2, Jaylen Brown, 8 for 23. They need better production out of him. Holiday's been hurt. Porzingis hurt. You know, Horford, solid, but in and out a little bit with some injuries. They really need Brown to step up and prove that he's worth the $50 million that I don't think he's worth. Okay, the Pacers and the Cavaliers. The Pacers lead 2-0. Holy Halliburton, Pete. That's what it really comes down to. Tyrese Halliburton has the Indiana Pacers on his hip. He's got them in cruise control, and they are really, really playing around him as a player. His assist numbers are crazy. His big shot-making numbers are ridiculous as well. He put 2 daggers into the hearts of different opponents very, very late in the game. Right now, they just, when you talk about the Pacers, all right, take out the RS out of it, it's pace. They come up the floor with pace. They're moving the ball, they go at pace, and it's putting a lot of pressure on the opponent's defense. Cavaliers, man, that's a definition of a collapse. I think the Pacers win the depth war in that series, and in game 1, Donovan Mitchell goes 13 for 30 and 1 for 11. That's not gonna fly. That's not gonna fly. So now you got more action here with the Warriors and the Timberwolves. That was a a game where I was a little surprised because I was hoping the Timberwolves would stay hot after defeating the Lakers. They'd come in on a high, think they could take out 2 LA teams in a row, but man, the Warriors look pretty good. I got to give it to them. Again, the hamstring. Will the hamstring the Warriors? Here's a guy that I didn't really get too high on in the draft when we did our draft board, but he's proven me wrong. Brandon Podziemski from the Warriors, just playing unbelievable right now. And I don't think that Jimmy Butler's 100% healthy right now. Dirty Draymond Green, though, 18-8-6, and Buddy Held has been absolutely, and that's a good story because he wasn't in the NBA. He was out in some of these leagues and got pulled into the NBA. The Warriors used him. And again, I'll give a lot of credit because they're really, really, having a good time with him, and they're using his role is perfect for the Klay Thompson role. Get rid of Klay Thompson because Klay Thompson turned to Clay Pigeon, wasn't making shots. Now they found this guy, Buddy Hield, out in a parking lot somewhere on West 4th Street. He's coming in, he's killing it for them. He's taking full opportunity, and I love it. Here's one for you, Pete, that you were just talking about, 99-88, the Warriors in that first game. 99-88, two West Coast teams, unheard of. Denver was 121-119 in game one, and they stole that game. They absolutely stole that game. The Joker. You ready for this, Pete? Now, here's the dynamic. Let me set that up for you.
All right.
They haven't called the MVP yet. And now you got a series here. Two players that have to be 1 and 2 going in the MVP voting. You've got Nikola Jokic and you've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Both had monster years. Now you got to kind of split hairs and say, well, this guy does this and this guy does that. Who had the better year? OKC wound up with the best record in basketball. He's the best player on their team. Jokic really carried the Nuggets, and really where would they be without him is another really valid argument as well. But he comes up last night in the first series, first game against them, the Joker, and boy, does he deliver. 42, 22, and 6 assists. The dude rebounds like crazy, and his assist numbers just put him into a category in the NBA where he's almost averaging, and at different times does average a triple-double. In the Zone has called the MVP for Joker a long time ago. We think he's unbelievable. He's the face of the game right now. And then game two was okay, see you later. They gave up 87 points in the first half, Pete. 87 points in the first half. The first night of the Warriors and Wolves was 99-88. The Timberwolves scored 88 points the entire game. Game two, OKC Thunder with a little bit of lightning, 87 points in the first half. Everything they did that night was just turned to gold. You could see they were focused. You could see they were upset by their loss in game one. Holmgren played terrific. Alexander played terrific. But to give up 87 points in a half, I mean, did anybody get in a stance? Did anybody put up their hands? Did anybody grab a rebound? SGA 34, 4, and 8 assists. He was 11 of 13, which I love. You'll see Brunson and some of the other guys out there that are high-volume scorers, and they're 8 for 23, and they're just not getting a really good field goal average. When I see a guy put up numbers like that and go 11 for 13, I'm saying that's why he's an MVP candidate. The Nuggets just took the game off. They absolutely just took the game off. All right, Pete, we're going to slide into the Dirty Dozen. All right, we got a little bit of action here in the NBA. Who's left? Who's playing good basketball? I'm going to tell you why we included them. And there it is, baby. NBA player. Look at Pete with the red, white, and blue. We're getting into the summer. I love this. Actually, the weather in Westfield, Massachusetts is trying to cooperate. Trying. I say trying because it's been rough. But, hopefully we're going to break on through to the other side, as the Doors said. But Jason Tatum of the Celtics has just been playing very, very good basketball. They need better performance out of Jaylen Brown and some of the other supporting characters in that cast. Donovan Mitchell, same thing. He's struggled, though, in this playoff series. I'll give him that. The other guys, Mobley, Garland's been hurt. They got to get around some of this thing and get a way to get the Pacers off downhill. Because right now the Pacers run downhill. Jalen Brunson, bad shot Brunson, big shot Brunson. And right now he is carrying this team, and they're responding. He's the leader. He's the floor general, and his dad was a great player as well. I think you're seeing that family thing go on. Dad probably works for the Knicks right now, I think, in some capacity. But he's really doing it, really doing it. And then you look at the next guy, Tyrese Halliburton. If you're looking in the East, of the two guys that are playing 1 and 2 right now, the best basketball in the East, those are your guys right there. Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton. The Cavaliers with Mitchell, they've gotten knocked in the head and they haven't responded. The Celtics, same thing. Tatum's been playing good basketball, but the rest of it just hasn't come together. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, after that first night, came in and had a monster game too. He's just so good. Just so good at so many phases of the game. And when coaches talk, when coaches have conversations, a lot of the conversations rail around, he does a lot of stuff that doesn't show up in the box score. And those are the things that we love. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is in the box score. He's out of the box score. He's everywhere. He's terrific. Nikola Jokic, that we bring in these two guys up back to back. They're right now neck and neck MVP voting. I'm not sure which way it's going to go. Jokic, if he gets it, will have been, I want to say, 3 out of the last 4 or 4 out of the last 5 MVP awards. Steph Curry from the Warriors, the hammy by the bay. We'll see what happens with it. If he can get back, they'll be okay. If they can survive this series, maybe you see him in the next series. But they're talking about at least 3 games right now, and that could be, that could matter a lot in this series. It could matter a lot moving forward. And when they say 3 games, I'm telling you right now, with a hamstring, they don't know. If he had a sprained ankle, you could say 3 games, and you could have a lot of faith in that. When they say 3 games and it's a hammy by the bay, you don't know. You don't know how the hamstring's going to respond. You don't know how the treatment's going to go, and you don't know once he goes into that next gear, is he going to be able to go into that next gear without blowing it again? Okay, that's going to be something to follow, Pete. Anthony Edwards, Timberwolves. We told the Lakers this was going to be a problem, and boy, was it a problem. Got to get going the same way, in this next series. Got to find a way to get going the same way against the Warriors. He was not the same player in Game 1. Jaylen Brown from the Celtics, good game, but his numbers are really skewed because just taking a lot of shots, and all of these guys, I wonder, is a 3-point shot really the best shot for some of these guys? Jaylen Brown's one of the best athletes in the NBA. He should be pressing the rim. These guys just stand out. They catch the ball. This is the Celtics now. They catch the ball in regular 2-point range. Turn around, dribble out, and move back behind the 3-point range so they can take that shot. Moving backwards, away from the basket. I don't know who's working with some of these guys, but it doesn't appear right now. When you take 63s in a game, it doesn't appear like anybody has their hands on the wheel.
Live by the 3, die by the 3.
Jump shot, Pete, you live by it, you die by it. That's an old New York saying. And now you got Pascal Siakam from the Pacers. Really, really good, big for the Pacers. He's stretching the floor, running the floor. He's fluid, and he can get up and down, and he shoots the ball pretty good. He's been a real problem in that series for the Cavaliers. Jimmy Butler from the Warriors, wake up, Jimmy. You're going to get a wake-up call right now because if Curry goes out, they're going to rely on you a whole lot more, and I'm not sure he's at 100%. Jamal Murray from the Nuggets, one good game, one bad game. He's got to develop himself a little bit more consistency, and show up. That year that the Nuggets won it, it was him and Joker pulling it, bang, bang, 1-2, 1-2, throwing those combinations at teams. And right now, they've kind of got like a 1.5 going on there. Joker's been playing great, but Murray has been inconsistent and hasn't been able really to put together a string of games at any point during the year, really, that you would say, that's him. That's the old Jamal Murray back. All right, Pete, I got a top 10 of NBA coaches right now, and we just threw them in the top 10. I didn't necessarily put them in order, but I'm going to give them to you right now. 1 and 2, I'm assuming these guys might be up for consideration for Coach of the Year. Mark Daigneault from the Thunder, Massachusetts native, done an unbelievable job. I think the Thunder, despite their Game 1 loss, have still a chance to compete for the finals. I think they're probably the best in the West. Mark Daigneault, great job with them. Kenny Atkinson, Cavaliers, another great, great job. He's got his hands full right now with Rick Carlisle, though. Rick Carlisle is really has developed and grown and matured into one of the best coaches in the NBA right now, hands down. Steve Kerr, I put him on the list. I don't like him. I said I don't like him. I don't like what he did to Jason Tatum, and I don't like when he runs his mouth in his press conferences. But as a coach, I'm going to give him his due. He's got the championships, and he's been able to put together that franchise, hold it together around a few significant pieces that don't go away. And it's Curry, and it's Draymond Green, And right now they're trying to ride Jimmy Butler a little bit. But I really, really think Kerr, my personal feelings aside, he's a good basketball coach. Rick Carlisle, if I had to pick a guy right now, I'm an NBA franchise owner. I just won the lottery, decided to buy an NBA team, and I got to go out and I got to find a coach, and I got to pick from all of these coaches or anybody who's out there. I probably try and get Carlisle right now. I just like what he's doing. NBA is an offensive league. It's never been a real big defensive league, and even when it has shifted towards defense in the playoffs, Carlisle's been able to keep that offense running on a motor. So I love it. Tom Thibodeau of the Knicks, he's got a MASCAC background, one of our coaches back in the day, and right now he's got the Knicks playing that New York City-style basketball, gritty, tough, and really, really going to have that Garden rocking when they go back there, because they had a bunch of guys that were New York Knicks fans that stayed behind in Boston Garden the other night to put on a little bit of a celebration. I'm sure that Missoula and the assistant coaching staff, Sammy Cassell, some of the coaches up there, got that thing on speed dial right now, sending it out to all the players, and they're watching it on their phone constantly because they stayed behind and they were just having a celebration, no problem. But when you do that on somebody else's floor, it has a chance to stick. I think you're going to see a refocused Celtic team head into the Garden. Ime Udoka from the Rockets, love it. I love the Rockets. I love this young man, what he's doing with the team. He's done a great job, really, really, really climbing with the franchise and as one of the better coaches in the NBA. J.B. Bickerstaff from the Pistons took them off the deck. They fired Monty Williams. And Pete and I sat here and shook our head and said, would somebody please do that to me? 7 years left on his contract, $8 million a year. They gave him like $70 million to not coach the team.
Ka-ching.
I've been hoping my whole life somebody would do that to me. But then they took him out, and they brought in J.B. Bickerstaff and boarded the Pistons. We talked about it, Pete. They got off the deck, man. They rose like Bela Lugosi from the coffin, and now they're out there, and they're in the playoffs. And they were giving the Knicks, who now are up 2-0 on the Celtics, everything the Knicks could handle. Got to give J.B. Bickerstaff a lot of credit for that. Eric Spoelstra with the Heat. The Heat caught the heat, but Spoelstra is still a really good coach. I think their roster fell apart on them. I think they're trying to keep their integrity. I love it, but you also got to keep your integrity and also keep roster integrity. Right now, they've got program integrity. Pat Riley, Spoelstra, very, very consistent NBA franchise, but they don't got roster integrity. That roster, for Spoelstra to get that roster in the playoffs shows what a great coach he is, okay? That roster is not an NBA quality roster by any means, okay? Here's the other thing too, Pete, as we get ready for our draft. I've been smoking this draft thing, but what I'm going to also do this year maybe is I'm going to put together a little bit of a column for guys that aren't going to get drafted, but that might wind up in European leagues and might be doing stuff, because if you're European coaches, right now, they're probably watching this NBA draft real closely as well, trying to figure out who gets drafted, who doesn't get drafted, who eventually makes an NBA team, and then who is the best pool of available players. Because in Europe, when you're only allowed to take 3 Americans or 3 foreigners, I would wonder if that rule is for Americans or foreigners in general. When you're only allowed to do that, that really puts an onus on your ability to attract really good American players. And if you attract really good American players, you can win over there. But Spoelstra, I got Missoula on the list 2 years in a row, but at the end of games, sometimes I got to be honest, man, he looks lost. Tyronn Lue from the Clippers. He was with the Cavaliers with LeBron. Now he's out in L.A. with the Clippers. He's got Harden. He's got, he really had to worry about having that whole thing with Kawhi Leonard hurt all year. Great job, bringing that franchise together. And having the ability to coach a team with a player as mercurial as Harden. He kind of gave Harden some freedom this year, and Harden, I thought, gave it back to him, in respect. Ran the team, did a good job, wasn't a pig where he would shoot the ball every single time down the floor. He did a pretty good job there. So I like it. Now, these guys sometimes on social media, they got some stuff up. It catches my eye. And then I got to ridicule them. I got to go after them. I got to take them apart piece by piece, Pete, because they don't know what they're talking about. All right? Now, this is a most overrated thing, and I believe it was done by asked and took a poll of NBA players. Now, first off, I don't believe that any NBA players actually responded to your poll. Not in a minute. Okay? I don't believe that. All right? And so now you got a poll of who's the most overrated players in the NBA. All right? Now look who came in first, Pete. Number 1, Tyrese Halliburton. 14.4% of all the vote went for Tyrese Halliburton. And people think he's overrated? He's number 1 on your list. He just hit 2 game winners in back-to-back playoff games and eliminated Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks. And now you're going to tell me this guy's overrated? He's got a double-double going almost every night with assists and points.
Yeah.
He's brought this team to reality. Come on. Rudy Gobert. Man, Gobert showed them the other night. Came out with 24 points, 22 rebounds. I get it. He's not the toughest guy in the world. Never going to start a fight out there or be any of the big physical centers that people wait for, but I don't know. I don't know if he's overrated. He's properly rated. Okay, Trae Young, 8.9. I don't see it. I don't see it. He's 5'10". If you're 5'10" and you live in the NBA world, you're doing something right. You know, Peyton Pritchard, TJ McCollum, guys like that who are undersized, under 6 foot. If you're living in the NBA at that range, you're doing something right. Jimmy Butler, number 4. I mean, come on. He took the Heat to the playoff finals last year, and nobody in the Eastern Conference thought that they could do that. I mean, they really, really put a lot of heat on people in that series. Bradley Beal, I'm going to go along with this one. He's hurt way too much. I don't like cupcakes. I don't like guys that, show up for 20, 30 games a year. I'm going to go ahead with Bradley Beal on that one. Draymond Green, overrated, Pete?
Yeah.
For what he's supposed to do,
Yeah.
I think he's properly rated. He's a good player. Is he going to be a Hall of Famer? A lot of people I hear him talk about that. Will Draymond Green be a Hall of Famer? And the only thing I say to that is, God, I hope not. John Morant, 4.4. Lately, yeah. If you took this 2 years ago, I'd say you're nuts. But lately, yeah, I would move him up the list, actually. Julius Randle, or as we call him on In the Zone, Julius Randle. There's no D in there, Pete. 4.4. Okay, give it to me. He just stands around. It's unbelievable. Joel Embiid, give it to me. Move him up. He's 9th. He should be number 1. Now, here's one I don't get. Giannis is on this list. Come on. Dylan Brooks, it's amazing. You got the 2 dirtiest guys in the NBA on this list. Maybe NBA players don't like dirty guys either. Dirty Dylan Brooks is on here. Paul George. I think Paul George is a great player, but he's just hurt too much. Tyler Herro, have you been watching? Have you been watching him play? He's been killing the NBA this year. Jrue Holiday, he's got more rings than Ringo Starr. LeBron James is on the list. That's just going to be crazy talk. Here's Zion Williamson, Pete. He's on the list. Is Zion Williamson overrated? No, he's not. He's overweighted.
He was the man, less than a year ago?
He's just overweighted. He weighs too much. He doesn't train. And when you bring that type of weight down on your lower extremities time and time again, you're going to crack stuff, you're going to break stuff, and you're not going to be able to fill out a whole season. Start training, start getting ready, but you got to really, really put in the time and the work. If you want to be the type of NBA player that you are capable of being, you're going to have to start working, big fella. That's all I can tell you right now. All right. This is no combine for you, Pete. NBA combine numbers are out. The lists are out. The rosters are out. And I'm getting excited because we're leading up to June 25th. But now you're going to see some college basketball pop up when the combine goes out. The G League combine will be there. This is a good time of year for me. I love it. But here's some people that did not get invited to the NBA combine, and there's a couple in here that make you go, Caleb Love, Arizona. R.J. Davis, North Carolina, scored over 2,000 points. He was there for like 9 years, but doesn't matter. Still, I'm surprised. Kadari Richmond did not get invited. St. John's, from Seton Hall to St. John's, surprised. Jaden Akins Julian Reese from Maryland, not a combine guy. Come on, folks. Curtis Jones from Iowa State, Chase Hunter from Clemson, Jameel Belfort, just some names up there. Some of these guys I don't think should have been invited. Here are some players that were invited, and you have six Duke players invited to the combine. Really? Come on, folks. Cooper Flagg's dragging 5 of his teammates along with him. Walter Clayton has been invited. I want to see him compete against the other great players that are out there. Derek Queen, I'm very high on Derek Queen, folks. I'm going to maybe go flag number 1, but if I'm looking for 2, I'm going to tell you right now, it ain't Dylan Harper. It ain't Ace Bailey either. Okay? And one of my reasons for that is you went to college, and if you're 2 and 3 in the NBA draft, well, then you should have made the NCAA tournament. They didn't. Janai Broom, Ace Bailey, Nick Clifford, keep an eye on him. I'm going to move him up my draft board, I believe. If I see him do some good stuff in the combine, I'm going to move him up because he's got some skill. Got an NBA-type game. Alex Condon, we'll see. Igor Durman, good. VJ Edgecombe, very good. Boogie Fland is in there. Boogie Fland. Jeremiah Fears from Oklahoma. That's a guy I got to see a little bit more in that combine feel. Rashir Fleming out of the A-10. Going to definitely be a first-round pick. Vlad, my big guy Vlad Golden, went from Florida Atlantic over to Michigan. I've been watching some of his workouts. Man, unbelievable. And he is just really, really starting to crack the surface, I think, of how good he could be. I got him in the first round as well. Dylan Harper, Trey Johnson, Cam Jones, really good talent right there. I want to see what Harper can do against the best. He's a great shooter, no question about it. Good athlete, really, really good, but I just don't have him in the number 2 spot, folks. Everybody's saying this draft is going to be so great, so deep, so wonderful. I'm not there yet. I think it's better than it was last year, but I don't know how deep and how wonderful it's really going to get. But we'll take a look. Here's some names that keep an eye on. I'm going to say late first round. I think they're a little bit more hopeful than they should be in stores about some of this. Ryan Kalkbrenner from Creighton, probably going to be, in the 20 to 25 range for us. Liam McNeely, Connecticut. This is who I was talking to and mentioning, aforementioned. I don't know. People have him pretty high. I don't know when it all shakes out on our draft if he's going to be as high. Certainly a first-round draft pick, but I just don't know. Cullen Murray Boyles out of South Carolina, for sure, going to be a first-rounder. Asa Newell, first-rounder. Adu Thiero, put that name down. Adu Thiero played at Arkansas for Calipari, was hurt, but this guy's got NBA athleticism, got NBA-type game where he can really, really be in an open floor and do a lot of damage. He might be the best athlete in the whole draft.
Wow.
Danny Wolf from Michigan, 6'10", capable of playing guard. Keep an eye on this name, folks. He's definitely going to be a top 20 pick for us. Darian Williams really made his bones in the NCAA tournament. Texas Tech, love this guy. If he goes back to Texas Tech, you got to move Texas Tech way, way up in your top 25 feet. John Tanji from Wisconsin, and another guy I'm really, really excited to see because he was injured a little bit, but Thomas Sorber, the big man from Georgetown, is going to be there as well. All right, Pete, here's something I've been trying to bring up, but I don't think I did in the last couple of shows. I always go through my notes and I go, you keep forgetting to bring this up. Now bring it up. So we had a little bit of action last week at Creighton. High Point this year was coached by a guy by the name of Alan Huss, all the way to the NCAA tournament. Great year, tons of wins all year long, established himself as a great coach. All of a sudden, from High Point, he goes up and decides he's going to go to Creighton as an assistant coach. And you sit there and you shake your head and go, why in the name of God would he do that? Because Creighton has named him coach in waiting. So when Greg McDermott decides to leave, and I would not put any conjecture points on that, Creighton fans, does this mean coach is gone next year? Is he go? I wouldn't put any type of conjecture on that because the guy is really one of the best coaches in the game right now. And to me, it looks like he's cooking with gasoline over there at Creighton. Now, is he another NIL casualty? Possibly. Is he a guy that came in, started the whole thing for them, got the NIL going, but wants no part of it? In reality, that could happen. And Greg McDermott is a guy to keep an eye on there. But Alan Huss is coach in waiting at Creighton, and it opened up High Point late. Greg Popovich, coach of the Spurs, great coach, no question about it. I think got off the rails a couple of times there and really, really overstepped his bounds as a coach and went into the political lane. Michael Jordan said it most succinctly, I thought. Republicans buy sneakers too. They also buy tickets. They sit in the seats. They buy shirts, jerseys, beer, cigars. They buy all that stuff that you guys sell there. But Greg Popovich decided to retire. He had a stroke earlier in the year. They went most of the year without him. Mitch Johnson was the coach who stepped up, and the Spurs are going to give him the reins and let him go. Popovich is a 76-year-old Spurs rep. He will now also continue as the team president. All right? He's the all-time wins leader in the NBA, Greg Popovich. Great for you, Coach. Congratulations on your retirement. The Nuggets, they say that they've got the desired result they wanted from the late season firings because they took some heat for that. There was a lot of people criticizing them for doing it with 4 games left in the regular season. So if it was that bad before, you should have done it at the All-Star break. I'm not really in favor of doing it in the middle of the season anytime. But the Nuggets front office trying to put a really, really pretty face on this thing. They're trying to put lipstick on this pig and say that Adelman has just changed everything in just such a short time, and they love the direction of the team. If they get whacked out in that first round, though, I don't know if everybody's going to love them.
That's like the family called and said, he's got to go.
100%. Everybody in the world wants to put on notice that LeBron James, while they got eliminated, he got an MCL sprain late in the game. That's one of the reasons that they want everybody to think they got eliminated. One of the reasons you got eliminated, big guy, is because you haven't been in a defensive stance in a very, very long time. Let me tell you why else you got eliminated, because the Lakers looked at you in a non-defensive position and said, let's get another one just like him. And they brought in Luka, and then Anthony Edwards carved you up like Swiss cheese for the entire series. And those of you that watch In the Zone, this is our 106th episode, but those of you that watched us right before the Lakers series, we said they don't have anybody that can guard Anthony Edwards. And as a coach, as a basketball guy, I've been around a long time, I know if you got somebody that they can't guard, you keep going there until the water runs out. And that's exactly what the Timberwolves did. I don't know what's up with that guy that coaches the Timberwolves, though, because every time they interview him, they look like they just woke him up. All right, let's slip into the NCAA here a little bit, Pete. Here's something we tell our fans all the time. If you want to know who's going to be good next year with all of the plate tectonic movement, with all of the portal action, with all of the NIL cash bags being dropped on drone drops, you got to say, what's a factor, Rich? What can you tell me that's a determinant? What can you tell me that's going to bring me through the summer and I can have some understanding of where my team is going to be? We talked about this guy a long time, Pete, but Matt Painter, Purdue, he paints Monets. But right now, one of the reasons they're as successful as they are is they got 69.7% of their offensive scoring back. Wow. Program integrity.
Wow.
Arkansas, 59.3. Good news for Calipari. Very, very good news for Calipari. And believe me, they're going to spend money. Marquette, right there. Shaka's trying to do something different. And if you want to know, like, if all of the purists out there want to know if you can survive in this world by doing things a little bit differently, possibly by walking down the divergent path, Shaka Smart's your guy, because he's not jumping in the portal. He's not jumping into the NIL as hard as everybody else. And he's trying to keep his program the way that it used to be, bringing in freshmen, not going for everybody that's 27, 28 years old. They got a few guys in the SEC that are AARP recipients right now. Okay? So keep an eye on Shaka. I hope that he can survive because I've told other people there's another way to run this thing. There's another way to do it. Right now, you got Kentucky forming into an LLC. What is an LLC? It's a limited liability corporation. What does that mean? It means the rest of the university is divorcing itself from the Kentucky athletics program because they don't want to be sued when this whole thing goes down the drain. The only thing you can sue them for now are the assets of that corporation. The schools now have protected themselves in a liability sense by forming LLCs, and we'll see who else follows along with this. Kentucky was NIL before the NIL.
Yeah.
They're always on the cutting edge of dropping something. Stanford, 53.8 return. Notre Dame bringing back a good group, but Notre Dame was also terrible this year. So they got that old saying, the good news is everybody's back. The bad news is everybody's back. SMU, we'll see. Andy Enfield, see if he can build that program. Right now it's tough, but if you look at Pat Kelsey's Louisville program, they went up the ladder like nobody's business. They went up the ladder quickly, swiftly, and left the rest of the ACC behind. We'll see if SMU, because they got money down at SMU, we'll see if they can use it. BYU, not only are they bringing in the number one player in the country and maybe one of the best portal players, Robert Hunter from Baylor, but they're bringing back almost 50% of their lineup, and they got some good players on that team. Watch BYU. We're going to give you our top 25 in a minute. But then you got Ohio State, Northwestern, Virginia Tech, Illinois, UCLA, Iowa State, and Michigan State. That's your top 13 or 14 teams for who's bringing it back. All right? Now, we've got a top 10, top 30 point guard thing here that I wanted to slap around a little bit, but I'm going to save that for next week most likely, Pete, because I want to get to this top 25 post-portal. Now, got to expand and expound here for the people, okay, for our great fans, the people who watch us, all right? The portal closed April 24th, I believe, was the date. But because the portal closed doesn't mean the portal's closed. It means you can no longer enter the portal. But once you're in the portal, you're in the portal until the business of the day has been resolved, until you get that return on investment. All right? But now you got to put together all of this stuff. You got to look at what everybody's doing, all of the movement. But there's been significant movement, Here's who we got, Pete. All right? And this is going to surprise some people, I think, but it shouldn't. Number one team in the country next year, right now, post-portal, has to be St. John's. Has to be. Rick Pitino spending all that Vita Water money out there, just reloading. They lost R.J. Luis, no big deal. We got Jason Sannon coming from Arizona State. They've really, really done a great job. Purdue is keeping Braden Smith and keeping Kaufman Wren, and those are two of the best players in the Big Ten. So they're going to come back. I think they're going to be number two. They also had that big kid sit out that got hurt. They've got some pretty good recruits coming in. They have hit the portal, but not excessively hitting the portal. They're being very, very selective. A little bit like Mark Few out of Gonzaga. Okay, Pete, Texas Tech. Again, Darian Williams returns. You're going to make them the number one team in the country. They got Toppin back. Grant McCaslin's done a great job. They went into the NCAA tournament this year, and they got their bones. You know, they got it wet a little bit. They got going a little bit. They got their bones both a little bit. So they can go back next year with pretty much this same team and really, really rock and roll. Louisville in the portal. Kelsey is a killer in the portal. Bang, bang, bang. 1, 2, 3. Took all three guys that he wanted, and let me tell you what they did. They went skill, skill, skill. The guys they brought in, only three of them, but they all shoot the lights out. I think the Louisville, you're going to watch that team next year. They're going to be very, very good. I got them in a 4 spot. BYU. Now, this is going to be a little bit of the Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey conversation here as well. BYU signs A.J. DeBonsa, the number 1, number 2 player in the entire country. the big $7 million deal that went on there, all of the money thrown at this. He was at Utah Prep the year before. The kid lives in Massachusetts. He's from Brockton, but he's out in Utah Prep, got this whole thing together. But that didn't turn into return on investment for Rutgers, so I'm really, really excited to see. But BYU's got some pieces back. This guy's not walking into an empty cupboard. But I didn't think that Bailey and Harper did either, but they didn't even get in the tournament. BYU, I got them picked 5th. Michigan 6th. Houston 7th. Everybody has Houston picked 1st. I don't get it. They lost a lot. And right now, post-portal, they haven't been able to show me, at least, that they've been able to close some of those gaps. I think they're great because their coach is great. I think they're great because of their program integrity, legitimacy, and culture. But right now, it's going to be about, you got players, too. Kentucky 8, Pope is dope. He's got it going. I'm going to put Arkansas number 9, because they're bringing back a lot. But again, you ain't never going to beat Calipari to the dollar. That's never going to happen. All right, Connecticut, number 10. I think Connecticut, people are very, very hopeful. So I saw them listed 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. They're just, their roster St. John's roster is much better than UConn's right now. I hate to say it to my Husky faithful because I know they love to howl and they love to get going. But right now, I don't even know if you're number 2 in the Big East. Forget number 2 in the country. All right, Arizona, 11. They're spending money out there like crazy. Duke, number 12. We talked about this earlier in the week. Has Duke set up becoming the new Kentucky, the new one-and-done operation? Has that becoming the new Kmart, if you will? In and out, we got everything you need. But has that become deleterious to the program and their success because they haven't won a national title in a long time? And they're talking about 3 of their top players right now, Cooper Flagg, Con Knuppel, and Cayman Malak. And Malak, he's rising on my draft board quickly. Can you keep reloading? They got the Boozer twins coming in, but you're reloading. But I think eventually, right now, I don't know that you get picked first in the ACC right now. I think Louisville might be over them. Iowa State, 13. Arkansas, 14. I got Arkansas in here twice. That's Alabama, excuse me. 14 is Alabama. UCLA 15, Mick Cronin, people were talking about him going. He didn't go. He's stuck. They got a good talent base out there, but also they got money. They got crazy, crazy money. Auburn, they lose a lot. Tahad Pettiford going to go. Janai Broom going to go. Chad Baker-Mazara is in the portal. That's 1, 2, 3 punch. I don't know that Pearl can recover from that and be the team that they were, especially given the league that they're in. But if anybody can do it, Bruce Pearl can get it done. All right, now you got to go to Tennessee. Another guy, Barnes, they got ripped up. They're losing a lot of talent right here, and trying to reload and keep it going, it's going to be a challenge for them. But they got them in at 17, where they spent most of last year in the top 10. Kansas, Norm Roberts, I'm going to give him a shout-out, my longtime friend from Archbishop Malloy, coach at St. John's, Bill Self's longtime consigliere, 59 years old. Storm and Norman decided to call it a retirement, and we love this guy, great guy. Bill Self's going to have big, big shoes to fill right there. Norman Roberts is the best, one of the best guys in the entire business. Storman, we love you, man. All right, but Kansas, that's going to be hard for them to fill as well because Norm just did so many great things for them over the years. If you want to know what was the success of Kansas over the years, you say Bill Self, but you got to tie that can to Bill Self and say Norm Roberts as well. Wisconsin, 19. Gonzaga, 20. St. Mary's, 21. Those teams are really tough, really, really good, but I think they're going to experience some turbulence in this new day. In this day where everybody's just got bag upon bag upon bag, I think these guys are going to struggle a little bit. And I'm talking about Gonzaga, St. Mary's. Predominantly, I'm talking about Catholic schools that did not subscribe to football. Many of the Catholic schools in this whole organization, outside of Notre Dame and a few others, even Marquette, big Catholic school, DePaul, big Catholic school, they don't have football. And that, right now, what they're saying is put them in a pretty good position from the ability to spend their revenue money, but I don't know how it's going to go as well. But I think those smaller market, non-football schools are really going to feel the struggle. Obviously, Few's been around a long time, and he can make some things happen. Randy Bennett, great coach. But I did not like the way his team folded up at the end of this year. I got Florida at 22. They just lost everybody. You know, Condon's going to go. Clayton's going to go. They've got a few guys back, but, man, they really need to reload. They did reward Coach Golden with a new contract, though. So as much as I thought the Denver Nuggets job is open, I thought you're going to get Golden or you're going to get Hurley to take one of those jobs from coming from the college ranks going to jump up. I don't know that that's going to happen, but keep an eye on it. It won't happen with Golden now, I don't think, now that he's signed a new contract. 60, he's in about an $8 million range there, doing very well. Michigan State, 23. Tough to vote on Izzo down this low, but, I mean, I think he's another guy that's going to have trouble keeping up with this, and they just lost a bunch. Alabama, 24. North Carolina, 25. All right, Pete, that's what we got. I got a couple of more things here. Ian Schifflin of Clemson is going to join Dabo Sweeney and play football at Clemson. Longtime forward for the Clemson basketball team. Rick Pitino is going to face Kentucky for the first time since 2016 in the CBS Sports Classic, December 26th. Next year, the preseason non-conference tournaments are shaping up to be something really, really good. Caden Lewis, the top available point guard, is going to Kevin Willard and Villanova, and a good get for them. And Tom Izzo, the guy we mentioned before, they just took out the AD at Michigan State. Tom Izzo will be co-athletic director for the time being. Keep an eye on that. If he does decide to retire, at least then he'll have a really, really good chance. Pete, we're over time. We're in the zone. We'll see you next week, folks.